review. Book one was all about the books that I read for the last 40 years, and today I have my special guest. She is a hope warrior, weeded but chosen, helping others to find faith, healing, and purpose through God's strength. And of course, the author of the book, Widow Goals Steps to Finding Peace When You Lose Your Spouse, none other than Miss Michelle Bader Ebersole. Welcome, welcome, Miss Michelle
Having
on
me on
book.
today, Daniel.
Yes,
I'm
welcome, welcome.
excited to be here.
Yes, and can you
Thank you.
please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yes, so I was widowed in 2020. My husband Luke had a long battle with cancer. And so he left me with three teenage kids, almost teenage kids. They were 12, 14, and 15. And I had to figure out how to navigate this world as a young widow with kids. And it was really difficult. But what I've been able to do, and we'll share more about this with my book, is turn my pain into purpose. And I was able to connect really early on with other widows who helped me. And then I wanted to turn around and help other people who are widowed. Because before I was widowed, I thought it was just like way older people, but there are a lot that are younger. And so I've been able to take what I've been through and help other people. Also have a podcast called Widowed Too Soon. It's been going for 4 years, where I help people from all over the world who are widowed. So that's a little bit about me.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Miss Michelle. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The title Widow Goals is both striking and counterintuitive. What does the phrase Widow Goals mean to you, and why did you choose a term that refrains the grief journey so proactively?
Yeah, that's a great question. It was actually early in my journey. I started doing little TikTok videos and they were different goals and they were basic and widow goals. And they were things to help widows to survive. And so I decided to take a book and write down 30 goals that widows could. And when I say widow, I also mean widower. We use them interchangeably in the widow world. So men and women who've lost a spouse. And so I wanted to put in this book goals so somebody could easily look at one of these goals and say, hey, I need to work on this today. You don't have to read the book in order. So they could look at this and say, you know what? I need to read this chapter. Goal number 10, let yourself laugh, and they can choose that one for the day. Or they could do goal number one, get out of bed. And so they could easily take the book and look at it and find a goal that would work for them. And when you're newly widowed, it's hard to think in the future. You don't know a lot. Like you feel like you're in this like roller coaster on this roller coaster. And so I wanted to give direction to widows, like just do one thing a day. For me in the beginning, it was getting out of bed. That was it. And so
Mhm.
that's why I chose the title Widow Goals, because I wanted those who are widowed to be able to look at this and be like, oh, okay, goals. I would like to accomplish some goals so that I can not only survive but thrive. So yeah, that's why I chose the title. It's a great question.
An interesting answer, Miss Michelle. And at its heart, is your book more about finding peace as a final destination or about learning to carry the grief and peace simultaneously?
That's a great question. Yeah, it's more about grief and peace. I haven't thought of it like that before, but yes, we do find our way to peace, but we're always going to have some grief, no matter how long it's been. I'm 5 years out. I'm remarried, but I still carry grief from my first husband, and so it really is about finding peace in the journey of grief and understanding that like grief and joy can coexist. You can have both. For example, I'm completely happily married with my husband Joel, but I still have grief about my husband Luke. And so it's learning about like how you can have both of those at the same time, and giving you steps in order to get there and ways to do it. It's basically everything I wanted to know when I was a new widow. And that's why I created it.
What is the most important misconception about widowhood that you wanted
Mm.
to challenge by writing this book?
That's a good one. There's so many misconceptions. So the first big misconception is people think widows are all like 70 or above. Like normally that's what you think. That's what I thought. But I have so many friends. I was 41 and I have lots of friends that have been in their 30s, 40s, 50s. So that's one of the things, but I wouldn't say it's the biggest one. But the biggest misconception is that, we should be over it, like within a year or whatever time period. We never get over it. We learn to live with it. So it's like an amputation, which I can relate to because my husband Luke had an amputation. So that part of you is gone. Like your spouse is gone, but you learn to live without them. And that's really like what we're able to do through our, finding peace in our journey is we will always miss our person, but we will be able to learn to live without them. And so I like to show people how they're able to do that.
Yes, let it go, people. Let it go. You frame the journeys in steps. How do you balance providing structured path with the understanding that everyone's grief is uniquely nonlinear?
Oh, yeah, it's all different. So, this book is a guideline, but yet I do talk about, yes, everybody's grief is going to be different. So, this is talking about things that helped me and that I've seen that have helped a lot of people, but yet understanding that, yeah, everyone's grief is unique. And the other thing that I love to educate people on is that there's not actually stages in grief. So, Dr. Elizabeth Kubler Ross created the stages of grief for the people dying, not those grieving. And somewhere over time, people started thinking, I'm grieving, I need to be going through these stages. But instead of stages, grief actually comes in waves. And it's like you said, it's not linear, it's like all over the place. And so any little thing can cause a wave. And the waves are really big. They're like a tsunami in the very beginning. And then over time, they'll come.
Tsunami.
Yes,
Yes.
they're like a tsunami. They can knock you out, just one smell, one thought, whatever, and you're down on the floor crying. But eventually you get hit by the waves, like where I'm at 5 years out, I'll get hit by it and it won't affect me as long. And so it's really important, yes, to know that everybody's journey is different. But people from all over the world and different backgrounds have told me that this has helped them. And so I know that it's working for people.
Yes, definitely. Baby steps, people. Baby
Yes, that's
steps.
true.
On the practical steps and process in the immediate raw aftermath of loss. What is the very first goal or step a person can focus on that is not about moving on, but just about getting through the next hour a day?
Yes, just think about right now. So the first thing is getting out of bed, just like my first chapter is about getting out of bed. That can be really difficult. Some people stay in bed for days. And so you have to find a thing that's going to help you get out of bed. So for me, I had children at home. I had to. For people that don't have children at home, they need to, I talk about this in my book, enlist a friend to come get them out of bed. And so that's one thing that you can do. And then just focusing on like, I couldn't even focus on tomorrow. I had to look at today. What's my very next thing? And getting through that. Okay, now that I've fed my kids lunch, now I can think about the next thing. And then, you're dealing with so much when you're widowed because you also have to make all the burial arrangements and do all of that when your mind is all over the place. So
Mhm.
it's really, really important that you just take right now and don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about in a month, 2 months, a year. I mean, I had no idea. People asked me questions about the future. It was like, I can only do today, and celebrate the wins of I got out of bed and I did the next thing. And that's what I would recommend.
Thank you for that recommended tips, Miss
You're welcome.
Michelle. Many people talk about self-care, but it can be feel impossible. What did radical self-care look like if you are
Mm.
early days, and how it's different from the common cliches?
Yeah, I would say you have to take care of you. So my counselor, every time I would go see her, she would say, what are you doing for you? You have to put on your own oxygen mask before you can take care of those around you, like in the airplane. And so she's like, you have to take care of you so that you can be the best mom that you can be, best friend, best all the things. And so I had to find ways that I could take care of myself with being a solo mom, which is different than a single mom. I don't have anybody else to take the kids. And so for me, it was things like working out, taking a bath, getting together with a friend. And then I wanted to kind of, you lose your identity when you're widowed. This is another part of it. And I had to figure out who I was, what I wanted to do with my life. And I actually had two other good friends around my same age who were widowed. And we took up a new hobby, and our hobby was line dancing, like finding places to go out and go line dancing. And that was part of my healing and my self care. And for me, it was finding other widows because I loved all my other friends and family, but they didn't get it. And so I was able to form a community. There was no communities that I could find. So I created my own group. I have a nonprofit for widows called Widow Goals also. And we get together the third Monday of every month and we find community together. So that was another like really healing part for me, was being around other people and taking care of me so that I could be the best for my kids. And that also involved grief counseling. I went to a grief retreat. I mean, I was pouring into every grief book I could find, because this is another thing that people don't understand about grief. If you don't take care of it, if you don't get the tools, you're going to be in the same place. For example, if you went to your car right now and there was a flat tire and you said, I'm going to come back in a year and it's going to be better. It's not, unless you actually put the air up to it and filled it up. It's the same thing with our grief. We have to get the tools in order to go through the grief. And that's why I have met widows who are 5, 10, 20 years out and they're still in the same place. It's because they never got the tools. And so I really poured into feeling it. That's another thing, is feeling the pain. Like when you start to have pain and have these grief moments, you should go through it. It's like going on a bear hunt, that little nursery rhyme. It's like can't go around it, can't go over it, can't go under it, got to go through it. So I always recommend that people feel the emotions. I've even told my kids that I'm letting you cry because you need to feel this. So like this is the only way you're going to get through grief. So anyways, that's some of my answers.
Interesting answer, Miss Michelle. You dedicate a section to navigating a well meaning but often painful
Only needs.
comments from friends and family. What was the most important boundary you learned to set protect your healing space?
Yes, that's a great question. It's more what I've learned now and what I teach people. So, a lot of well meaning people say the wrong things. Now, I prefer someone say the wrong thing than nothing at all because it's very awkward when people would just pretend that he didn't die. So, I would actually speak up and say something. So, the best thing that you can do is try to listen to people's hearts and not their words, because they're going to get their words wrong. I will tell you some things to say and not to say. Um, the best thing that you can do, instead of saying, a lot of people are like, I understand how you feel, I'm divorced. That's my biggest pet peeve. It's not the same thing. I know divorce is painful, but it's not the same thing. Don't use any words that say at least, because it's diminishing their pain. Say instead, I don't know what to say, but I'm here to listen. And then just listen. And don't try to like say things to try to fix people. I mean, there's so many people who really diminish our grief because they're trying to fix it. We don't need someone to fix it. We need someone to just be there and listen. I have a whole chapter on, gently guide your friends and family on what to say and not to say. And there's actually a QR code where they can download it and give it to their friends and family on like a list of what to say and what not to say, because people don't know if they haven't been through it. I mean, I had no idea. It's also really hurtful when someone's just widowed to say, "Oh, you're young, you'll find love again." Well, yes, that was actually true in my case, but I didn't want to hear it in the beginning at all. We don't want to hear these things. We just want somebody to sit there with us in our pain. Here's the other big thing that people do wrong. Don't say, "Hey, let me know if you need anything." The grieving person doesn't know what they need. They need a friend to step up and say, "Hey, I'm bringing you a meal today. I'm going to come take your kids," and like be very like proactive in stepping up for our friends instead of just saying, "Let me know what you need," because like we talked about in the beginning, you don't know what you need. You don't know what the next minute looks like. And so I really encourage people to be very specific and step up and help their friends.
Help your friends, people. Just
Yes.
be there with them and listen. Just
Yes.
listen.
That's right.
A huge fear for many is losing their connection to their spouse. How can someone
Mhm.
honor their past and their memories while still making
Mm.
space to build a new life?
Yes, yes, that's so important. So by speaking their name, still talking about them, with my kids. We made it normal from the very beginning. Like, oh, what do you think daddy would think about this? What would he think about this? Still talking about him, even though I'm remarried. I talk with my kids all the time about their dad, and having things that, like, you have your days and your times and your things, when you're thinking about them, you're focusing on them, and that's okay. That's part of the grief process. But then also living, like, I believe that, and I'm also a Christian, and my book is very faith-filled, that this is what I like to say, like, God didn't leave us here to just survive. Like, we were made to thrive. Like, we still have a purpose. If we're here on earth, and our husband or our wife is gone, like, we are still here for a purpose. And it's about, like, learning to continue living life while honoring the past. For example, like, when holidays come up, we blend old traditions with new traditions. So when Luke was alive, we would always have cinnamon rolls every Christmas morning. And so we were able to blend that as a new tradition. We still have the cinnamon rolls, but we share our favorite Christmas memories with him. And so we're able to keep the old and the new. And I have tons of examples of things like that. So there's always ways to honor the past. It's not like when someone dies, you don't talk about them anymore. That's actually really unhealthy. And, like, our friends and family sometimes think they can't mention their name because we'll cry. No, we want to talk about them. So if you have a friend who's lost someone, mention their name because they want to talk about them. And if they cry, it's actually good and healing. Definitely.
Yes. And Miss Michelle, as an author, a hope warrior, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Did you say long-term goals?
Yes, please.
I so one of my biggest passions right now is getting help for widows within churches, because a lot of churches don't really have anything set up. And I've created a program. And it's not just churches, I have other groups that are doing outside of churches. So I really want there to be more awareness about taking care of widows, because church is actually one of the loneliest places when you're widowed, because everything's geared for families or divorced or young singles, like 20s, and you feel like you don't belong. And so what I'm trying to do is get my program, which is my book, along with the workbook, same title, but a workbook. And then I created a leader's guide. And the leader's guide is so that someone could just pick this up and say, okay, I know how to lead a group. And so my goal is to get this all over the world so that people can feel supported. Yes, there are groups that are for, there's Grief Share. It's a great program for overall grief, but I did create a program for widows specifically. And so I want to get this all over the world. And so if there's any listeners who are like, hey, I want to take this to my church, or I want to, um, you know, provide a widows group. We have a program now. I have all 3 books on Amazon. I want to continue to support widows all over the world. So my podcast has over 200 episodes and been going for 4 years, and that supports widows in 121 countries, I think. I found my first community of widows on Facebook. So I now have a widow community called the Widowed Too Soon community. And I want to continue to support widows through that. I have a retreat that's coming up in January for widowed women. And I want to just continue to help widows know that they're not alone, because that's what I thought in the beginning. I am all alone in this. Like, nobody gets this world, to be a younger widow. And so my goal is to help them know that they're not alone, and it's not always going to hurt as bad as it does in the beginning, because it's unexplainable. You can't even explain how bad it hurts. And so I want to continue to offer support and hope to widows around the world.
Good luck to your goals, Miss Michelle, and
Thank
looking
you.
forward for more success.
Thank you. I appreciate
And
it.
yes, and what would be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you?
Mm. You mean as far as, like, someone reaching their goals, or you're talking about widows specifically?
Yes, as an author, as a hope
What an
warrior.
off Yeah, if you have a cause, whatever it is. So mine is widows. Don't be afraid to step out there and start doing it. If there's not what you want, then create it. That's what I did. I started a group because there was no group. I wrote a book because there wasn't this exact kind of book. And so if you have, like, a dream in your heart, and you have, like, a certain group of people that you want to help, just like I want to help widows, do it. Like, why wait for someone else to do it? Because you have all the knowledge. If you've been through it, you can help these people. And that's kind of how I looked at it. It was like, okay, I've been through this. I can use my knowledge and my knowledge of other people's experiences to write this book. And so, yeah, I encourage everybody who's got that dream in their heart and that passion and that fire to go for it. Why wait till tomorrow? Do it today. That's my advice.
Do it today,
Do it
people.
today.
Stop procrastinating.
Yes.
If you have something to share to the world, please do so.
That's right.
It will add it to your legacy. For someone who feels permanently stuck in their grief, what is one small, manageable way to go they
Mm,
could set for themselves to gently shift their perspective? And thank you for that advice.
mhm. I would say one of my chapters is called re-enter social spaces. So that's another thing that's really difficult is getting back around people. Very difficult, especially groups of people. And so I would say you start small. If you're afraid to get back in a group, just reach out to one friend, plan a coffee date, something like that, and get out of your house. Or even another thing you can do is go for a walk, like just get outside. And for me, what I did a lot is I would leave my phone at home and I would just go walk and I would pray. And that was so healing for me to just be out in nature and be praying and like talking through my feelings and all of that stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of things, but I mean, just slowly take these steps so that you can move forward. There's even a chapter about, it's okay to be angry. Like these things happen to us. It's okay. We can feel the emotions. Like it's really important that you feel the emotion. Like that's another one of my biggest messages. Like don't stifle the emotions. Like you need to feel it. I always say what we feel God can heal. Like we've got to feel it in order to get healing. And so I highly recommend feeling the emotions.
Feeling the emotions. And Miss Michelle, can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Oh, 100%. The Grief Recovery Method, number one top grief book besides mine. And I love it because I actually became certified as a grief recovery specialist and we use that book. And it just gives so much education. The tire example that I told you, the grief waves instead of stages, like a lot of what I'm saying came from that book. And so I highly recommend that book to people. It's on Amazon and it's very, very valuable. It actually has you go through all the losses in your life and make a graph and a letter. And it's an amazing book. So that's my number one top recommendation for a grief book.
Thank you for that recommended book. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, Miss Michelle, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my Abstract Essay is already in fifth season, Abstract Poetry in second season, and my Book 101 review in fifth season too, Comedy 101 in third season, and
Wow.
my Food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101, Love Letters, Movie 101, and Music 101 are in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101, Mental Health 101, and Bible Verses 101, Science
Ooh,
101, and Sex 101 in
wow.
each second season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Michelle, how has your relationship with your late spouse evolved throughout this process of finding peace?
Mm, yeah, I've learned to let go of anything that something people don't talk about is that there's still hard things that were in your marriage, possibly most people that you might not work through. And so I've been able to, through the grief recovery process, like let go of anything that was undone and we hadn't finished talking through and forgive and ask for forgiveness, like through this whole process and to be at a place of complete peace. And I've learned to just he's a part of my everyday. I think of him every day, and
Mm-hmm.
just respect and honor. We had almost 17 years of marriage, the marriage that we had. And, I'm so thankful for him because I am who I am because of him. I have three wonderful kids because of him. And I'm now creating a legacy by creating these books. I actually launched the book on the 5-year anniversary of his death. May 23rd, 2025 was the 5 year. And so that's why I created the book to be launched on that day. So I believe I'm continuing to honor and love him and create his legacy through the book.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Miss Michelle.
Thank you.
So, can you please invite our listeners to support your book, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yes. Yes. The best place to find everything is widowgoals.org. It has the book, the podcast, the program, everything I'm talking about, the retreats. And also, you can just go directly to Amazon. And if you search Widow Goals, you'll find all the books that we've been talking about. You can also follow me on Instagram at Widow Goals. It's all Widow Goals. So,
Way to go! Yes, let's support Miss Michelle Bader Ebersole because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Miss Michelle, thank you so much for your time.
thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Bodycom people, see you soon.